The recent reports about Prince Harry allegedly having an outburst about being told that Spare and the Netflix series with Meghan hurt her brand have once again ignited a familiar wave of commentary. Headlines were quick to frame the situation as a dramatic moment, portraying Harry as shocked by the idea that his own action may have affected how the public views him. Yet, when you look closely at the situation, the story says far more about the ongoing narrative surrounding Harry and Meghan than it does about the reality of their lives or their impact. The framing of the moment almost reads like a sarcastic punchline, a man discovering to his shock that he is the only one in the world who did not realize he was responsible for his own downfall. But the truth is far more complex. What critics often describe as destruction of a brand is for many supporters actually the deliberate rebuilding of one. When Harry released Spare, he made a choice that very few members of the British royal family have ever dared to make. He told his own stories and voice. That decision was controversial, yes, but it was also deeply human. For many years, his narrative has been shaped by the palace aides, tabloids, and royal protocol. The Spare was Harry reclaiming his own experience, speaking candidly about the trauma, loss, and the complicated dynamics of royal life. Now, the same is true for the Netflix documentary series he created with Meghan. Rather than being an act of brand sabotage, it was an attempt to provide context for their decision to step back from the royal duties. The series allowed them to explain the pressure they faced, particularly the relentless scrutiny from a certain section of the media. For Harry and Meghan, the project was not simply entertainment content, it was a platform for charity, a chance to challenge narrative that had dominated headlines for years. So what is often overlooked in this discussion is the courage it takes to stand against deeply entrenched system of power and expectation. So Harry was born into one of the most traditional institutions in the world. The monarchy has long operated on the principle of silence, never complain, never explain. By choosing openness instead, Harry broke one of the royal family oldest unwritten rule. To critics, the decision was reckless. To many others, it was an act of integrity. Meghan, too, has played a crucial role in this journey. Since entering royal life, she has been subjected to an extraordinary level of scrutiny and criticism, often far harsher than that redirected at other members of the family. Despite this, she has continued to focus on advocacy, charity work, storytelling projects that highlight issues such as women's empowerment, mental health, and racial equality. So her influence has helped reshape the public conversation about what modern public service can look like. The idea that Harry and Meghan's brand has been damaged assumes that their goal was always to remain universal, popular, or to maintain the traditional royal image. But their action suggests something different. Their work in the United States through initiatives like the Actual Foundation reflect a shift toward independent philanthropic and media projects designed to amplify voices and cause they believe. Spare itself became one of the fastest selling wares in the published history, demonstrating that there was enormous public interest in Harry's perspective. The book resonated with the readers who saw in his story a struggle with grief, identity, and the challenge of forging one's own path after growing up under intense public scrutiny. Rather than weakening his influence, the mail reinforced his ability to connect with people on deeply personal level. Similarly, the Netflix series reached a global audience and sparked conversation about media ethics, privacy, and the human cost of relentless public attention. For Harry and Meghan, the project was not simply about recounting grievances, it was about highlighting the emotional toll that can come with life in the spotlight, particularly when the misinformation and sensationalism dominate the coverage. So when commentators claim that Harry was blindsided by the idea that his action have consequences, they overlook a key point. Harry has repeatedly acknowledged the weight of his choices. In interviews and public appearances, he has spoken openly about the difficulty of living royal life, and the emotional challenges that came with it. But he has also emphasized that stepping away was necessary to protect his family, and his mental health. So that willingness to prioritize personal well-being over public expectation is part of what has made Harry and Meghan such a compelling figure in the modern media landscape. Their stories reflect a broader cultural shift toward authenticity and self-determination. So in an era when many institutions are being questioned and re-examined, their decision to break with traditional resonate with audience who have transparency and independence. So the narrative of dramatic outburst may generate headline, but it oversimplifies the larger picture. So Harry's journey over the past several years, has been one of the transformation. He has moved from being a royal defined by protocols to a public figure shaping his own project. So speaking openly about mental health and building new life for his family. Meghan's role in that transformation cannot be understated. Together, they have challenged long-standing assumptions about what it means to live the royal system while still pursuing meaningful public work. Their collaboration in media, philanthropy, and advocacy demonstrate determination to create something new rather than simply replicate the structure they left behind. So ultimately, the conversation about whether the Spare or the Netflix series hurt their brand misses the deeper question: what exactly is their brand now? And if it is defined by independence, honesty, and willingness to speak openly about difficult experience, then those projects have only strengthened it. They have allowed Harry and Meghan to step out from behind the rigid framework of royal tradition and connect with the world on their own terms. And in the end, what some critics interpret as chaos or miscalculation can just as easily be seen as evolution. Harry and Meghan are no longer confined by expectation that once shaped every aspect of their life. Instead, they are building paths defined by their own value, their own voices, and their commitment to causes that matter to them. And perhaps that is the most significant part of the story. Rather than being architect of their own destruction, Harry and Meghan may simply be the author of the new chapter, one that reflects a modern understanding of leadership, family, and personal freedom in the world that is rapidly changing. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.